Conley. I am the current union president in the Canfield Local School District in Northeast Ohio. I'm with Dr. Farkas. Dr. Farkas, what are you doing out there?
Well, I'm the superintendent at Central Union High School District in El Centro, California.
We are finding common ground in education, and we are starting this new weekly kind of video to share some deliverables with people in education, leaders, teacher leaders, and union leaders and administrators. And so we started last week with the February checkpoint, and we break things down into every 4 checkpoints a year, February, May, August, and November. And so this week we're going to talk about May, right? And so you got to kind of take your hat off for February and think ahead a little bit. But what does May look like? A typical May, when you get to that checkpoint, we always say, reflect on the last 3 months, prepare for the next 3. Mm-hmm. What's something that you always kind of reflect on in your May planning?
Yeah, May's tricky because it's the last full month of the school year. And it seems like it's the shortest month of a school year because you're getting ready to send students off to college and beyond. And you're wondering, how did the school year go? So we ensure that we reflect back on our shared goals. And oftentimes we look at it throughout the school year, but May is when you really reflect how far you've come with your shared goals.
Can you give me a more specific example of what you might reflect on? Like a shared goals are obviously how a school district is going to run in the best case scenario. You obviously have shared goals, but give me a more specific example of what you might reflect on one of the shared goals.
Yeah. So this year we had a few initiatives. And one of our main goals was to implement our professional learning communities throughout our schools. And it's high schools. So it's, you have your departments, everything that goes with high school. So we wanted to ensure we were going to, not only implement, but be able to measure the progress we made over the course of the year with professional learning communities, teachers working together. So for like those components and those measurements, we said, how often for administrators, how often did we allow time, get time for our teachers to meet, so that this could actually be a process that we could succeed with. And then for teachers, what did they accomplish during those opportunities, and what can we do in the future to support more growth and more opportunities?
So you almost have different metrics as a superintendent, right? Where you have a metric for your administrators and a metric for your teachers, right? You're almost kind of juggling both. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And then I even have metrics for myself as far as my role that's different than a school site leader. So there's a lot of different roles, but in the end, how do you ensure your goal of implementing professional learning communities has made progress from August to May?
Okay.
And how do you get ready for next year?
Sure. Yeah. And as you're looking at that May checkpoint, that's a really good reflective example, like a specific one that you're going to deal with, obviously, in May a little bit more, but you probably check it all the time. What's an example of what you are preparing for as you headed through May, June, and July?
Well, I think one of the most important pieces is to continue any revisions. This year, I'm very proud to say all of our priorities have been long lasting. They're not going to be a one and done situation. So, and that's something you and I've talked about for years. We're not going to bring in new programs and new initiatives for 1 year and then bring in something, every year, one thing new. We want to try to build on what we're already getting stronger at for long term. So revising our current goals so that we can grow even more. That's front and center.
Where do you get that information from? I understand that you can work with teachers and get some data and some administrators, but if you're planning for next year and you're going to do a lot of work, obviously May, June, July for next school year, how are you going to reach out and who are you going to include in those? Like, what are your stakeholders? What are the most important ones?
Yeah, you have to include everybody when it comes to goals, even if they have different roles. And we're using different data metrics and everything. The most important thing is you're involving everyone. So when we talk about stakeholders, obviously we go right to teachers. They're the ones that are with the kids the most at the school. But we also have support staff that needs to be in the know and be part of the process, parents, And at the high school level, we know that's not as easy as the elementary level. So we want to make sure we're finding ways to incorporate working with our parents. Our students sometimes get overlooked because adults think obviously that they make the decisions and choices, but we need to make sure we're listening to our students, and then our administrators as well, making sure everyone's on the same page, even if you're working at a different school.
So I heard you say 5 groups. Is that fair? 5
Yeah,
groups?
I think 5 groups is the right number.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. So take administrators, support staff, and teachers out of the equation.
Sure.
Let's talk about parents and students specifically. Those are the most challenging groups to hear from because you can control the schedules of the people that are working for the district. How do you connect with parents and how do you connect with students, which I think is something California does really well with your LCAPs. But can you talk to everyone about how you reach out and you get information and important, really, feedback from your parents and teachers, or parents and students?
Parents by far is the trickiest one because they're busy, they've got lives, and then you're tired after work. You don't want to come to a 6:30 meeting unless you really sell it from the school side as we need you. Maybe you piggyback it on with another event so that they're coming for multi-purposes. But you definitely want to use surveys to get to everyone so that it's simple and clean, and it's not where they're asked to come to school for 2 hours in the evening, although that's nice as well. So we use surveys. We do use focus groups. We've done a good job with having parents come in, whether it's the school side or the district office, and we run basically focus groups asking questions on what they would like to see from their school and their district. That's been very productive, like you said, for our local control accountability plan, strategic plan. And then social media, really encouraging and sharing out what's good and what we're trying to work on so we can enlist support. And then students are a little easier because you can do that on the student announcements and you can kind of get them throughout the school day based on when you can gather their feedback.
Good. That's good. That's great stuff. And I think those last 2, students, I didn't think about it too. You have them, at a kind of dedicated time each day during the school year, but parents, are the trickiest. And that's a pretty good kind of several different ways to reach out to parents. I think parents want to help. We just have to give them the opportunity to voice their opinions. Not everyone can be there, at 3:00. So I think that's important. Okay, so that's the May checklist as you're planning the school year. For Dr. David Farkas, I'm Dean Conley. Thanks for watching, right?